Well, there we go. You started as a pro, though, and within 14 fights in 2.5 years, Carl, you'd achieved what you actually set out to achieve already, hadn't you? You were a British champion. Incredible,
yeah, definitely.
Incredible run of form.
Definitely. Was it my 14th fight?
14th fight, Damon Haig, yeah.
So 12th was the Commonwealth title. And
12th
then
was
British
that
title.
yeah.
When I turned professional, I think I've said to you before, I never had aspirations or maybe self-belief until I started working with Rob for me to become a world champion. My first goal was very realistic, and it was an English title or an area title. And my second goal, and my really big goal and my dream, was to become British champion and win that Lonsdale belt outright. I beat Damon Haig for the British title. I now defended it 3 times against decent names domestically. Tony Dodson, Brian McGee, and I think Robin Reid. A good mix of opposition there to say, you know, I've got their names on the plaques now on the belt, and I achieved it quite easily. I'm not being big-headed or brash or arrogant. The British title for me was an easy win.
Yes.
You know, I had a tough night.
You knocked him out in a round, Carl.
Yeah, exactly. But I had a tough night against Brian McGee defending it. I mean, I knocked him out in round 11. The Reid fight, it was past his best, but I had 3 good, successful defences and won the Lonsdale bout outright. And once I got that with relative ease, other than injuries,
it was onwards and
I was thinking, right, world title, why not? I was in the gym with Howard Eastman, sparring with him. And as far as I'm concerned, I was dominating the spars. I wasn't dominating in a word where it was easy for me, but I wasn't getting hit, and I was landing shots against somebody who was just about to fight Bernard Hopkins, the legend, for the world title. I was in Miami with him for 6 weeks, thinking, he's fighting Hopkins, and
I can get the better of him.
Yeah, he's not landing a shot on me. And then I watched him fight Hopkins and thought, he had a good go there, he did well, but he didn't quite do what he should have done to win.
It was a fairly crashingly boring fight as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, after the Eastman-Hopkins, it was, yeah. After the Eastman-Hopkins fight, I fancied my chances with Hopkins. But as a kid coming through watching Hopkins and Roy Jones...
You'd have gone, no.
Bernard Hopkins, no chance. But sat at ringside watching Eastman with him, I was thinking, is that it? Is that all they've got? And that's when you start to get your confidence and your belief. British champion, defended it successfully, training with Eastman, seeing him against Hopkins, you know, the best in the world, a legend by his own right, you know, and I was sat there thinking, I can do this, I'll have a bit of this.
So you're closing in on a world title like you. I think the Robin Reid fight was the one that, I mean, purely because Robin was an ex-world champion, it was the one that made a lot of people sit up. I mean, we all knew about you beforehand, Carl, but the fact that you blew him away in 5 rounds kind of suggested you were the new kid on the block, didn't it?
Yeah, Reid was a name at the time that people could relate to, because he'd fought the Welsh guy, JC. So because of that fight...
We'll get on to him.
And let's not forget, Joe Calzaghe got beat by Robin Reid, but got the decision.
Yes.
I mean, it was a split decision, and everyone thought Reid had won.
Yeah.
But, you know, timing, promotional divides and whatever, TV, and Calzaghe got his hand raised at the end of the night.
He did.
But a lot of people, like myself, thought Robin Reid won the fight, and that's why Robin Reid stands out in everybody's head. When I fought Reid, it was like, oh, he's fighting Robin Reid, and we had a packed house at the arena for the first time because I was fighting a name, and I got rid of him. But I'm not going to say I beat Reid at the top of his game. He was past his best. He was coming down from world title level to try and get a Lonsdale belt himself, try and get my British title off me, which he'd never had because he jumped from, I think, area level to world honours pretty early. Reid did. He won a medal in the Olympics. And
won a bronze, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He won a bronze. So he went on to world honours pretty quick, Reid. He had quite a fast-track career.
But that was the one that really put you in the... that must have been the one where you thought, well, look, I've just marmalised a former world champion. Surely this is where I belong. So that's when you started thinking, I've got to get a world title fight, and that's where we come on to Joe Calzaghe.
Yeah, definitely.
You wanted him, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I concentrated on getting myself in the prime position. It took me and Mick Hennessy and Robert McCracken. We went over to the WBC loyalty convention in Thailand to show our faces, speak to Jose Sulaiman, the president, put a name about, put my face about, and you know, I'm ranked number 6 in the world, and then I'm ranked number 5, then number 4, then I beat Robin Reid, and he's an ex-world champion, so my ranking's up there, and I'm turning down opportunities for European titles, IBF title shots, and all different titles. We're going, no, we'll stick with the WBC. Joe Calzaghe is WBC champion. Yeah. Let's go down that route. I was offered a fight with Antonio Tarver, and financially I'm not attracted to fights. I'm attracted to belts, and you know, I've boxed for years without getting paid. So, you know, when you're boxing for years without getting paid, money's not always king. And at this stage, I was thinking the WBC title, the green and gold belt, that's the one. It wasn't just that belt; it was the fact that Calzaghe had the belt, which made sense. Let's stick with the WBC. So yeah, after 2 years of homing in on him and building up my ranking and getting myself into the prime spot, he was in a position, fight Carl Froch or vacate my belt.
So what did he do?
He chose the latter. And I don't even know how he's got the cheek to pipe up and even try and criticise me at all, because I've done it the old-fashioned route. I put myself in the prime spot to fight him, and then he gave the belt up.
I think for us boxing journalists, the sad part of Joe Calzaghe's decision to relinquish the title was a simple one. He fought Bernard Hopkins, a 44-year-old man well past his prime. That was probably the bit for most of us writers who thought, well, fair enough. If he'd have moved, let's say even for somebody who was an up and coming, you'd say fair enough. But an old man like Bernard Hopkins would just seem absurd to us.
Especially considering he never got paid for the fight.
Well, yeah. But I mean, that aside, it meant that you were mandatory challenger for it. It meant Jean Pascal was the one behind you.
Well, there was Dennis Inkin, and he pulled out.
And he pulled out for the umpteenth time, didn't he?
Yeah, he pulled out twice. So Jean Pascal was building his ranking up as I was.
Yep.
And we ended up with an epic fight with two proud, unbeaten warriors.
It was a brilliant fight.
Arena.
It was Fight of the Year on both sides of the Atlantic. I think the Ring magazine voted it Fight of the Year, and I'm sure Boxing News did. The build-up to it was pretty good, wasn't it? You were in Ireland for most of it. You were just training and everything, but then you bust a rib, didn't you, a couple of weeks before?
Yeah, a week before actually. I'd done a rib injury on my last spar.
Your timing was exceptionally good.
It was,
Carl.
and a perforated eardrum as well, which is it's not so much painful, but it's annoying, and your balance is a little bit ropey, and you've got weird noises going off inside your head at night, and it's uncomfortable. So yeah, perforated eardrum and a broken rib, but there's no way I was pulling out of this fight. It was a WBC world title fight. The ear, I mean, you can perforate your ear in round one, so what are you going to do? Pull out? Oh, my ear's hurting. So that's the way I look at it. The rib was a problem, and the pain I was in after the fight as well. I couldn't feel it in the fight, if I'm totally honest.
No.
Couldn't feel it. Adrenaline, nerves, the crowd that were behind me. I mean, it was an unbelievable evening for me, a night I'll never forget, and I lifted the WBC world title.